Welcome to another lesson on integrating Transcrypt with reactive documents on the web. So in this episode, we're going to finally look at how do we convert some of the Python structures to something that can be displayed using Mithril.js. So we're going to talk and work with a couple of different data structures. The first one is we want to be able to take in a list of dictionaries, Python dictionaries, and then convert it to something that can be displayed. So to do that, I'm going to create a function called DataFrameArray, and this is going to take in two arguments, which is my data and also the columns. And what I really want the signature to look like is I want that data to be a list of dictionaries, and I want the column to be just a list of strings. Now, why do I want it to be like that? Is so that when I build the list of lists, which is what my JavaScript program expects, then the columns will have a consistent ordering. So let's just quickly go through the code of how this would work. So let's create a new array which will represent the data which feeds into my JavaScript code. And let's go and let's just loop through the data. So for row in data, what I want to do is I want to generate a new list that represents the row, and I want to iterate through the columns so that we have a consistent ordering. And then all I want to do is I just want to append the value when I call it by the key. And when that's done, I just want to add the row to the final array. And that's really it. So now with this structure in place, when this gets rebuilt, I should be able to copy this over, and then I should be able to also simply use DataFrameArray on a Python dictionary to be able to print out a dictionary. To be able to print out a table. So let's give that a go. Now I know I haven't copied it over, but just to show you that this works. So I'm going to do DataFrameArray, which I know doesn't currently exist. And I am going to create something that looks like this. And I'm going to call it with, I want to make the order A and B, not A and C. Right. So let's copy the bundler over and see what happens. I'm going to copy this over, and maybe for my own sanity, I'm actually going to call this A and B, and I'm going to move this object. My window is going to play nicely with me like that. So there we go. We can now display or pass a bunch of JavaScript variables into Python, which then into my Python code specifically, which then gets interpreted the way that you want in order to display a table. So that's pretty useful. So before I close off, you know, you can do all kinds of things. So let's talk about a very simple thing you might want to do, which is you want to calculate some statistics. Within your Python code, it will just work in the same way that you would expect. So for example, if you want to calculate an average, I'm just going to copy and paste because the code is not particularly tricky. It might look something like this, and then you can call data frame statistics, and it will also show you what the statistics are in this new array. Right, and I'll just print to console log when I bring it over. So for example, console.log of Python table of this thing here should just print out the average of the values. if it loads correctly when we move the bundler over. Okay, so now when I move it over, hopefully this runs and it prints out 1.5 and 2.5, which is what we expect. So there you have it. You can begin to see how you can use Transcrypt to write your Python code and then integrate it into JavaScript.